years ago. They had AJ.
You gotta be
Burnett.
careful with that kind of thing.
Who's an older guy, been through the ringer. And
It's 7 o'clock. Call the January meeting work session of the work session for the Indiana Borough Council to order. And Lori, we've got some voting to do, so would you call the roll, please? Present.
here.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Steelman.
Here. Taylor.
Rosen.
Warnock. 9 present, 3 absent.
He was here last night. This is probably as good a time as any to let the council know that Councilman Warnock has sent me a very brief note resigning from the council at the suggestion of his doctor. And that's all I know. Do not ask me anymore, because if I knew, I wouldn't tell you, but I don't know any more than that.
Good. Recommendation of your doctor is never a thing to attach to anything, right?
Okay, are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
The change to the agenda for the suggested motion for the Indiana Free Library position for Larry Feldman, that needs to be,
In February, so we get it done now?
no, because technically, when the library board begins, you begin and end on the year that you began, on the month that you
Right.
began.
And what I'm suggesting is we appoint somebody whose term would be to be beginning in February.
Appoint them now.
This is not undermining you in any way, shape, or form. This is simply a way of getting our business done. Date.
I'm just saying we should table it until February when I'm no longer in this position. You can,
Thing about that is that then delays the other person beginning their position.
on the board, Peter.
Oh, he's already on?
He wants to move his position into my position.
Oh, I see.
He's already on the board. He technically should not be doing that while I'm still on the board. Am I not on the board until January of 2023? Nicole?
First or January 31st is when.
I don't understand your reasoning, but I'm willing to accept it. We can postpone. It's not quite tabling, I don't think is the right word, but
Table, shouldn't we vote on that motion?
should you make a motion?
For this,
She didn't actually make the motion.
I'm just asking for a change.
Or not, and vote on whether, thank you.
I'm just asking for a change, that's all.
Public comment. We don't need an executive session, I suppose. So begin with the administration committee.
Motion for the zoning and hearing board member, RJ Bobish, listed below.
His application and with all the pertinent information.
And included? Oh, it wasn't, okay, sorry.
This did not.
So this is a motion. It's being channeled through our admin, but it would need a second.
Second,
With me and just explain. Is it a one-year term or, I mean, we're voting to appoint a person? I mean, I'll take your word on the individual, but what is it? Obviously, it's the zoning board. I got that, but. Is this just once a year we have to appoint someone or how, like, what is this?
It's like 3 or 5 years, Lou. It's a long time.
Okay. So every so often a position becomes open and somebody applies to fill it.
On there's not rerunning and I forget who it is. So there's 5 members on there. So we have a vacancy and we also have a zoning board alternate vacancies too. So we have 2 positions open for zoning hearing board and he applied for either or, but we'll fill the slot and then
Meetings ago, you said if you know anyone that's interested, have them apply. That's what that's what this is. Understood. Okay. I'm good.
This. Putting for this person?
candidates?
All in favor? Signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay.
check with like Brenda, obviously, because the code of zoning is involved a lot with the zoning board. And she knows the gentleman, actually Kyle knows the gentleman and they gave good references.
Staff recommendation, sounds great.
Anything else from administration? Nope. Because we didn't meet in December and we haven't met yet in January.
It's the 7th of February.
Developments. There's one change with community development at the request of,
Into the library board starting in February. Yep.
is there a second? So we have a motion on the floor to appoint Larry Feldman.
Effective February first.
Effective February 1st.
No longer be holding the position. Right? So it would not supersede her in any way. It would be after the whatever date. I don't know what that date is exactly. I think it's February 1st.
Oh, the following week because it starts midweek for us.
Question?
I think we need to investigate exactly when my term ends before we appoint anybody else.
That's a fair question.
Because nobody even knows. I checked about this at the library board too, and they don't know either.
Actually,
23.
yes, but
2023 now.
23.
on the original thing, and then when you came in and said that you're up on the board, then I assumed that our paperwork was wrong.
Point.
And in January, but that's just a miscommunication about the time, about the date.
When it is supposed to be.
Where we approve anything.
Yeah, because we don't know.
Well, now I understand her original point better.
To take this off the table?
I motion to table it in lieu of clarification. Okay.
You can table it. All right, so. Now, the motion which proceeds, the original motion is to table the original motion. And that doesn't need discussion. All in favor of tabling the motion to appoint Larry Feldman to the library board? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, we got through that one.
I think we missed your original point, quite frankly.
I mean, it's good until the next meeting, unless you want to mention change.
That at the request of Councilman Ford and with the approval of the rest of the committee, I am going to use my prerogative as president to appoint Josh Krantz, who has not appeared tonight, undermining his credibility here, finally, as the chair of community development. Ben wants to step down from being chair of community development.
I'd like, yeah, actually, I would object, but, the idea is to have a transition period in the
Right.
the leadership of that committee, so that we could be organized in January, so that Josh can either take it over, because I'm not planning on being here more than another year.
And how long does that appointment last for?
Lasts actually until I appoint somebody different,
Well, or till the new council.
until the new council. And
Next year, the new council will have to
Right.
reorganize.
new council after next January, there'll be president's election and so forth and so on, and the sitting president appoints the chairs and the committees.
I'm not dead yet.
We don't even know what the committee structure will be next year. This coming year, we're all the same as we have been. Nothing else out of community development. Okay.
Yes, we have a motion, move to approve the school safety services agreement with the Indiana Area School District and authorize council president to execute the same.
Whenever I see that, I think that performing an execution. Had a chance to read the agreement. We've known about it. Time to get it out there. Any discussion?
Mr. President, on item number 14 on the agreement, and I just noticed this, there is a typographical error. And it should say 4 years beginning January 2023 until June of 2027. For some, it lists that at the top of the agreement, but for some reason it's different on number 14. So I just wouldn't want council to vote without making that note.
Good. Is published that date will be corrected, correct? Whoever's in charge of.
I wouldn't recommend you sign it until they do.
With that, there's no other material changes that you're aware of.
No other material change.
Discussion? See? Do we need a roll call vote? Yes, on this, because money is involved. So, yes.
Gabowser.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Herring. Pratza. Lancaster. Noel. Smith.
Yes.
Steelman. Taylor. Warnock. 9 yes.
Will inform the school board of our vote.
Yes, sir.
So that, just that's the end, that's in. That contract is on right now. It's on.
As you can see, it's
To
already
this
been
time.
signed by them.
It's been signed, it's dated January 3rd, so. It's in. So that's great. So I'm just saying there's not another step. We're the second signature the school district's on. This
There's
is
no
it.
other step. I would
That's great.
anticipate by Monday that we should be
Great.
serving the school district.
Good. It's a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's been a long time coming. It's a good,
When do we start the process
Congratulations.
for the officer?
it's been a long time.
Good. So that'll be fairly quick.
Does it say that it starts on the 20th or whatever Monday is? Because it says January 3rd.
I would be satisfied if it just said January and then we just begin after the execution date. I'm not sure why that third was in there and I can't speak to the 25 other than I know that's a sheer typo on the school district or whoever drafted the document, so.
Good deal.
Thank you.
No, it was.
We'll get those couple typos. You can talk to. Or, I mean, you've been the point of contact, so I think,
I've not ever seen that thing in here, so I'm not
Yeah.
certain it's on every draft. I just noticed it here as I reread it today, so.
Oh, it's not on the page with signatures, so.
yeah. Okay.
Okay,
We will get.
anything
that
else
clear.
from public safety?
Nothing right now. We meet Thursday.
Paul, and he said he doesn't need anything unless there's a. Good, good.
You'll have a big agenda, I think.
And those stairs are still closed.
I think that was gonna be part of the.
Closed, okay.
Works me, okay. Open stairs.
So.
Year. Next week's not looking too good for you.
Steps are still closed,
Yeah.
even though we haven't had any weather.
Right here.
Or the situation with these cutter things.
Boom, there's a lot of times that I'm like right on your level. I'm like, yes. I'm right with you.
Moving on. Has Shade Tree, anything to report? None?
No, we haven't met. We meet in about a week.
All right. Nicole.
Only thing I'm gonna report is, next month at the committee meetings, we're gonna be starting the fee schedule, so just a heads up, that's gonna be coming to each committee. Then hopefully we'll pass the fee schedule in, March. The project manager will be here once again for the building. It's been a ongoing, last couple months. The chief and I have been working with, Russ from Stiff McGraw, and he'll be back tomorrow. We met with the bank, obviously, and we'll present all this. We're hoping to, at the next the February's admin meeting, to go over some of the costs that has been coming in. We're finishing up some of the last construction cost on certain areas of the building, but it's coming in obviously a lot higher. We did reach out to the bank. We were pre-approved for that 1.2. They did up it to 1.5 because of the conversation we had with them. But again, we'll bring that all to admin and go over all the figures and the phases, how we'd like to maybe see this done. But the main is the HCV, the air, the heat and that, because half the building the other day was without heat. So it's in desperate need, and we have people coming in and we don't want to put any more into it because we need to replace the whole system. So that's it.
Freezing to death last night. All right, any questions for the manager? Are we gonna be as short as we were last time? Chief. You got a long thing here.
First and foremost, I want to thank members of council, members of the Indiana Area School District for the votes of confidence in us and the district partnering together to enhance school safety. Just as a brief background publicly, since 2013, the school district has been in some form or fashion in conversations with the borough about feasibility of having a district-wide approach to public safety. I've been part of those discussions since 2018, my position both as lieutenant and chief, and the four pillars of our partnership moving forward are going to involve presence and relationships, awareness, and liaison with admin at the school on public relevant information matters, professional learning and collaboration, and threat assessment and response. So it'll be a robust plan. The police department has a capacity to step in with the school district, and we are excited. I think it's this is a good step for not only public safety, but school safety, at least in a systems approach that we're going to put forward. So I very much appreciate that. And I also appreciate the work of Manager Cephas, Mayor Simmons, and Solicitor Doherty. Everyone had a part in the conversations at some form or fashion at some point in time. And so just very thankful and grateful. You have in your packet today, December 2022's calls for service. As you can see, we handled 496 calls for service in the month of December. Everything else is fairly standard and routine in the December report. Really, what I'd like to spend my time speaking about, of course, I'll answer questions on anything, is the 2022 year in review document that everyone has in front of you. So these, as in years past, are your personal copies. There's nothing in this document that I consider to be confidential. So I've already publicly shared it as I shared it with you, with our press partners. I would just like to speak briefly about the document without going page by page, but I hope that you do go page by page. In 2022, the Indiana Borough Police Department handled 9,471 calls for service. As you proceed through the year in review, you will see that there are sections listed as recognitions, training opportunities, data project, crash reduction, technology and equipment upgrades, and a path ahead. And under recognitions, I would like to just let you know that all officers have received multiple professional recognitions through 2022. As a brief highlight for council, Sergeants Jeff Atherton, Sergeant Mike Rayco received exemplary leadership medals. Sergeant Jeff Hogue received a community service medal. Randy Almendinger, Mike Clausen, Josh Henning, Jeff Hogue, Andrew Kazarek received commendations from the U.S. Attorney's Office for excellence in policing. And our Comfort Canine Axel was credited with a good citizen certification and also therapy dog status. There are many, many other recognitions that were issued to officers throughout the year, and they're all listed individually in the pages that follow. Our training opportunities, I'm proud to report that members of the Indiana Borough Police Department accepted and completed 358 training opportunities throughout 2022. Department leaders were Lieutenant Eric Slavinsky, Sergeant Atherton, Patrolman Hunter Scherf, Detective Andrew Perry, Sergeant Jeff Hogue, Patrolman Trent Ream. But all officers conducted numerous trainings throughout the year, both in person and remote. And a snapshot of the variety of trainings that you will read as you go through this packet. We've received training this year in dealing with dementia, uses of force, dealing with stress, active shooter, cultural awareness and diversity, crime scene processing, human trafficking, mental health first aid, school safety, understanding bias, missing and exploited children, hate crime training, trauma victim response, crisis intervention, leadership, internal affairs, narcotics enforcement, and de-escalation. As council is aware, we embarked upon a data project where members of the police department collected, reflected upon, and reported 3 years worth of traffic stop data. That data is included in your packet as well. 2022, we participated in a crash reduction initiative as we have in 2018 and 2019. Our initiative was only suspended in 2020 and 2021 as we were remaining strategically distanced from our community in the midst of COVID-19. But I'm very proud to report that members of the police department reduced traffic crashes in Indiana Borough by 17% this year. And that's a combined effort, enforcement, education, and engineering. And that's more spelled out as we go through the packet. Technology and equipment upgrades. We were true to our word in seeking out upgraded equipment and technologies. 2022 saw us bring body-worn cameras to the police department. We upgraded police cars, station access system, crime scene processing equipment, and we were informed in late December that we received the countywide radio upgrade grant for a total of $581,000. So product of that will be every municipal police department in the Indiana County will be receiving radio upgrades, and that'll happen in 2023. And our path ahead. We're going to acquire and implement the radios and radio equipment that was provided in the grant. I had hoped and anticipated that we would be embarking upon the school safety partnership, and we were going to be doing that. Looking to enhance our Comfort Canine program and embrace and create opportunities for continued personal and professional growth. And your support and the support of councils past enable our success. You have a police department leading positive change, seeking positive impacts, and embracing non-traditional approaches for community safety success. I'm proud of every member of your police department, and it remains the honor of my lifetime to lead with each of you. I have on the back, the second to last page of this report. And again, there are many other things contained in this report, but on the second to last page is a message from me discussing our forward-moving focus. And just in part, I'd like to read aloud that as we enter 2023, our focus will continue to be on strategies capable of enhancing community wellness and support, officer and employee safety and wellness, personal and professional growth, enhanced recruitment, and increasing our technology to best meet tomorrow's demands. Significantly, we are looking forward to leading Indiana County's effort to upgrade radio systems, and we're looking forward to developing and fostering a systematic approach to school safety with the Indiana Area School District. Both ventures strengthen and build partnerships, enhance our ability to serve, and increase our public safety efforts. And as always, we will be relentless in seeking positive and proactive impacts to protect everyone within Indiana Borough from both traditional and non-traditional harms. And then finally, I draw your attention to the last page, which is a message from Mayor Simmons. And again, I just want to thank him for his friendship, partnership, guidance, and leadership throughout 2022 from the seat of the mayor. And I'll be happy to answer any questions. I don't want to put anyone on the spot tonight. We can certainly answer questions at an upcoming meeting, but I wanted to get this in your hands as early as I could in 2023.
One concern with weather as it changes, there's a lot of e-bikes out there. Mentioned this before, I think during public safety. I noticed when the weather is nice and they're out there. I know that there's no way to really control them as well. But I see a lot of them not following the rules on the road, but taking up space like they are a vehicle. I almost witnessed somebody getting smashed by a vehicle because he wasn't paying attention. So my concern is if someone has lost their license due to DUIs, things like that, and they get a bike and they get back out on the street, I think there's still a liability. So is there something that we can think about to get the word out there that you're still you're still liable?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We will, we can certainly do a public messaging campaign, and we can certainly be making those stops as we're seeing those violations occur.
I just see them whipping around and zipping and going through the stop sign and flying around the corner. Like they're,
Are they considered a vehicle or a bike? Or is that a distinction that is?
Legislation hasn't necessarily caught up with the reality of our moment, but e-bike operation on public roads is allowed under the following conditions: when the rider is at least 16, when the bike includes operable pedals, and when it weighs no more than 100 pounds. So there are different levels though of motor driven cycles, and it gets very technical. Thank you. Even for the chief, it's very difficult to keep up. But we do have the general platform. So as we encounter a violation, bicycles on the road have to follow the rules of the road. So violation or not, a bicycle is required to follow the rules of the road. I'm sorry, e-bike or not, required to follow the rules of the road. Sometimes it's difficult to stop bicycles because they are, well, they're fast. Not every young person riding a bicycle knows the rules of the road or what to do with the police cars behind them. And we don't want to create a more dangerous situation. Certainly not an excuse, but it just, there are challenges with everything that we do.
they don't have a mirror,
Yeah,
yeah. But they're on the road.
And they don't have a plate.
Identify them. I can speak to this at public safety on Thursday also. I'll have something more robust prepared.
Citizen patrol.
No.
Nope. We do not need citizen patrol.
Or more
Thank you for your answer, chief. Yeah, I realize it's.
too. And I think by law, they're not allowed on the roads. But they're riding on the sidewalk on Philadelphia Street, which is also against our laws.
Against the ordinance.
It's against our ordinance. And but we can't position patrolmen out there just to look for them, because they'd be for 3 days.
There's never nothing that we can do, there's never nothing that can be done. So we will form that strategy and I'd be happy to report back. I apologize.
You caught that. It wasn't in Spanish either. It wasn't.
Thank you.
Negative in English. Ready? Yeah,
I
go
have
ahead.
something else I just wanted to highlight that I think is impressive, the numbers. So the crash reduction initiative you started in 2018, and it mentioned 17% reduction in the last year. But since 2018, that's a quarter, that's 25% over 5 years, crash reduction,
That's right.
which is impressive. So I
Thank you.
want to highlight that, that's a good number over 5 years. Especially if you wanted to have a reduction of 2%.
Well, setting out, that was the bar, but
Yeah.
the officers certainly took it professionally and personally to make sure that we were doing everything that we could, but that's a credit to everyone else other than me. I put together the paperwork, but I am not generally, at least in the past few years, the person that's been out there making sure that motorists are stopped at stop signs.
Yeah, and ultimately, discussions about, the e-bikes or whatever. There has been a significant reduction in traffic accidents, so keep it up.
Thank you.
Is there anything else for the chief?
I have nothing to report.
You have nothing to report. All I wanted to report on was that, because it's only been 2 weeks since our last meeting. Is that I have been attending meetings run by Kyle, who's been doing a marvelous job with both the stormwater. And he and I have been meeting with Get Solar people, pushing a program for businesses and nonprofits. We're meeting again on Friday, right? Or tomorrow. Well, and yes, that's moving along quickly. We don't have a lot of people signed up in that yet, but. We're a small town. Yes, I do have it, yeah. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you. We want to go back and thank Don White for the job that he did back in 2013 that actually got the bill through the Senate that allows police departments like ours to protect in other municipalities, neighboring municipalities, whenever they don't have a police force. And that's something that that's a big deal, and that's throughout the whole state, not just here. So we're real happy with that. And we're also happy that Don had a kidney transplant last week, and I think he's doing pretty well so far. Notice that the downtown Indiana and Chamber of Commerce have merged together. That's something, yeah, I think that's a good deal, and it's going to help all of us.
Going to maintain their individual identities to some extent.
Right, but I think that joining together, I think will help overall, and we in the borough here should certainly help do our part to help keep that going. So we're real happy about that. And
We could,
yeah, very nicely done.
however, that the library can have a storage room back. Once they get moved out.
Down to the chamber, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, thank you.
Any questions for the mayor?
Clarification question. Is it the Indiana County Chamber or is it the Indiana Borough Chamber? Okay, that's what I thought. Just want to make sure. So. Well, never mind. I'll ask you that later. Right.
But I think it's gonna be real good.
Are they adding a staff person? Are they? Are we gonna have this?
Yeah, they've been interviewing directors, and they said they've gotten some good candidates.
Having the large organization will allow them to probably hold on to a staff, executive direction for.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Good idea. So, yeah, I think that's a real plus.
Anything else for the mayor? Okay, none. We have the American Rescue Plan discussion. You've got
Updated sheet. It's a slightly different from what was in your packet, just because the Public Works maintenance barn, the garage insulate, it's done, so we did pay that bill. So just an overview of the things under general service, the ordinance update, we just kind of had our kickoff meeting at the community development, and we're rewriting chapter 460, our zoning ordinance. So we're in the plans of getting the RFP out in February, and that will be probably a year's process to get that ordinance updated. So under general services, most of the items have been paid for and completed. The Public Works barn, all the maintenance that we wanted to do, the upgrades of the parking department improvements have been done. Obviously, the big things left are the building maintenance and the community center boiler when we go to replace that. So those three things, infrastructure is the same. We started the tree program, which I report to Shade Tree every month. We had a couple people in 2022 take advantage of that. It's still ongoing. They have 40,000 left for future tree planting, which they're coming up their January's meeting. They're going to have their plans for like a 5-year plan for tree planning. And the economic development was a big discussion. We started it last night at the community development with some ideas on, what we really want to do with this 375,000. Again, and jumping down to miscellaneous things that are left over, the engineering cost is more related to projects that we're going to be using throughout the year. And the IRMC park enhancement, we're going to meet. I talked to Bob Chrisan today, and Ryan, we're going to get with Kay and some business owners on 7th Street and meet up with them and get some things started on the table, like a round table talk. So we have that in the plans, and hopefully we can use that funding for that information. So I guess we want to jump back to economic development. And the discussion we had last night, I don't know, Ben, if you want to, Josh was supposed to be kind of say like his plans on the sidewalk, program, where we think is the most, in need for Indiana Borough out of the economic development portion. So.
This all got kind of, I don't know that kind of backbone. We have definite progress. We still got some time to spend this money, so it's not like it's burning a hole in our pocket. But in terms of the sidewalk repair, I can sketch it out for folks, and then it'll be in the minutes at our next meeting in a more sort of formal fashion where you can actually look at it. But one of the perennial complaints is that some of the sidewalks within the borough are less passable than others. So there's a safety concern, there's an accessibility concern, there's Sarah scoffing as a concern. So there's some issues we have to deal with. And so the committee has sort of talked about this trying to come up with different ideas in terms of, does the borough try to repair them itself, or, these various options. And kind of where we're starting to settle is that we take the money that is here and we use it as basically a rebate program with a focus on the sidewalk areas that are identified in our active transportation plan, right? So we've done some planning around this as a community. We have this active transportation plan. And so focusing our efforts in that area and focusing on sidewalks that are damaged, right? They require repair or replacement. And essentially, as long as the money lasts, offering a full cost or nearly full cost rebate for repair and replacement. And the primary thrust of this will be through our code and zoning enforcement officers, because they're the ones out walking the streets and also who know when a sidewalk is in need of repair or replacement. And so focusing on those areas in the actual transportation plan, essentially giving out citation letters, because that's our way of doing things, but instead of just a standard citation letter, having the letter specify that you as an individual property owner are eligible for X amount of funds, which based on sort of an approximate square footage cost to replace a sidewalk would cover the cost of replacing the sidewalk that needs to be replaced, right? And if it's a repair issue, like grinding down to get a, you know, where it's popped, or there's some injection things that can be done, there's a couple of options that are cheaper. If it's a repair option, giving you the funds to do that. If there are community members within the active transportation identified zones who want to be proactive and want to like get out in front of this and not wait for code to come by and say, hey, you know, you should do this. They can also, we'll have a short application that they can come in and we'll you know, give them funds to repair it as well. So that's kind of where we're at. I mean, this is, I was not going to talk about this tonight. I was going to wait till everybody had paper in front of them, but I surprise you on a regular basis, so it's fair. But that's the sort of the kernel of it. You know, another additional part of it might be that if we as a group or would like also to look outside of the active transportation plan, perhaps we offer a percent, like if you're outside the active transportation plan area, but your sidewalks are in bad shape and you'd like to go ahead and fix them and get a little bit of money from the borough, maybe we offer, you know, we'll pay 20% of it or something along those lines. There's some room for discussion here, but that's sort of where the committee is leaning in terms of trying to use some of these funds to improve the sidewalks in the community, right? And a couple of just caveats here. We understand from Nicole that the backflow assistance program is probably not going to take the form that it was budgeted for. So there might actually be $150,000 that can be used for sidewalks. And before everyone gets too excited here, in rough numbers, it's about $20 a square foot to replace a sidewalk, according to some of our staff that's familiar with this. And so, you know, if you got a 5-foot wide sidewalk in general, $100,000 gets you 1,000 linear feet out of our roughly 30 miles of sidewalk.
37 miles of roads.
A little less sidewalk probably.
They don't all have sidewalks, but some of them have sidewalks on both sides.
So, right, so this is not gonna fix all the sidewalks in the community. But it gets us started, and if this is grossly successful, perhaps a future council would want to put tax dollars to continue this program. But so think of this as sort of a first sort of pilot to look at, you know, a way that the borough can actively try and have better, safer, more accessible sidewalks. That's kind of where we're at. Yeah.
So just for clarity. I don't live in the expert transportation plan. I get a letter that tells me I have to fix my sidewalks or else. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, right? I come to the borough, I get 20%, but my neighbor 2 streets down got the whole thing paid for.
So here's why. So I can speak to that in support of that. I think one of the things I appreciate the effort the committee has gone through. I mean, we've been bouncing this around for a little bit, and this is not a whole lot of cash. And this is like what is really great about this is that it uses the active transportation plan that we're sort of paid to use. And we have some priority areas, so let's do this. We're able to do it. It's maybe not completely fair across the board.
But think about the sidewalk is your responsibility, but the sidewalk is a public good. So the more people who use the sidewalk, that's where we're focusing our efforts.
I don't disagree.
So that's the logic.
I really don't.
Yeah.
But it is the homeowner's responsibility per state law to maintain their sidewalks. And so now we're saying that, okay, some of them, because of somebody decided to make it part of a path. Right. Yes, I get that. But one block over, I'm gonna get the same fine and the same threatening letter, and if I don't pay for it, I'm gonna potentially go so far as to have action taken against me because I don't have the money for it, you're gonna get 20%.
Or 50, or whatever the council. Or 0, or whatever, because this is what the council, this is why we need to have a discussion about it.
You were not prepared to talk about this, so I'm not trying to ambush you either. Right? I see that as an individual. Shade trees, for an example, right? Because are also a benefit to the community. And their program does not differentiate between what street you happen to be living on. It is the Indiana Boroughs program. That is actually fair to everyone. Everyone who participates in taking care of their trees then has the exact equal shade.
If I was in particular, I would point out to you that the sidewalk is your responsibility, and any money that you get that helps you, you should say thank you. And not complain about your neighbor also getting a good deal, right? I mean, so there's a couple of ways to crack this, and this.
We could discuss
this
this
would be-
further at the next
Right,
community development.
And if the whole group, if council feels that we should not use the active transportation plan, we should just make it borough-wide, that's fine. The recommendation is to use this plan that focuses on where people are actually using the sidewalks the most heavily. And to be honest, right now, if you're outside the active transportation plan, probably you're not going to get a letter about your sidewalk.
But that's not true, because we've been getting letters and I got letters.
Then
on
fix
my
your damn
neighborhood.
sidewalk, people. You are leaders in the community. Cut your grass, fix your sidewalks.
Then
please.
I wasn't the one who had the problem sidewalk.
Okay,
It was the whole block.
okay.
So I agree with you. It's not fair, but we can take this up in public safety. You know what, Luke, let's take it up later.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think that is one of the touch points that we're gonna have to figure out. Right, wasn't really an outburst. It is, I mean.
Okay, let's continue this.
If you own
next-
property, you gotta.
Ben,
take
when's
it
your
aside.
next meeting?
Well, this is gonna come to council at the next council meeting, because we discussed it last night, and we have something that vaguely resembles a recommendation, so.
Our solicitor was pointing out that there are plenty of other programs that also.
Yeah, and there was,
focus on
there was an Elm
specific
Street program.
areas.
We've had this, the Main Street program, did the same thing.
The only difference would be, this is required to be taken care of by the homeowner. So we are cherry picking a thing that is the homeowner's responsibility and giving some people money and some people not.
We're giving some people more money and some people and everybody money. Like, it's a dole. I mean, it really is a dole.
Page, if you come to Borough and say, I need more help.
We don't have a structure for that, really. Not that I'm. Yeah, I mean, no,
I agree with you. There's other funds that go different places, but this is a homeowner responsibility. It's like your roof gets paid for and your roof gets nothing.
Yeah.
It's the homeowner's responsibility. But
out of here, so.
No, or not yet?
Not yet. That's been on the that's been
Part of the.
part of
phase
the
two of
phase, fixing up.
expansion of the.
And actually, we would like to go. The reason we're trying to get some business owners in on South 7th Street too, from there to Church Street, going the other side of 7th Street.
The discussion hasn't been radical change. The new landscaping that's in there on the, between Nixon and Philly. I think the discussions at least has been to sort of mirror that, right? There's not particularly aggressive new landscaping, tasteful.
Sure going up.
Not for $50,000, there's not.
I can make one. I can make one.
This doesn't say closing or anything. This is just,
Okay, I was just curious,
Yeah.
50,000, I was just curious if they had ideas already. Thank you.
it's more like a matching thing. We can use it as a match to get people involved, to get IRMC back involved, to get the business owners involved. Hey, we can put this up as a match if we, the sidewalks in that on South 7th Street are really bad. So, yeah. Shade trees involved in it, so they want bigger tree boxes.
Example, like we need to focus money there because that's really our property and we have not been maintaining it. We have. So that's, one of these opportunities where we'll probably end up paying for those sidewalks when really they'd be the business's own responsibility.
And then Tom Spade saying.
Any other discussion in the
More coming? Speak, is there another bill happening? Is this it? I lost track of the phases of Biden bucks. This is the last phase, all right.
all right, that's that discussion. Is there any new business?
Of a special interest to me, there's two new restaurants coming in town. There's a bubble tea place coming in town under the Commonplace. And Pizza House is being revived.
Amazing.
It's gonna be called Crossroads, because it's the crossroads between IUP and downtown. And the owner, this friend of mine, Aaron, it's kind of the crossroads of his life.
What are they gonna,
They're supposed to open this week.
what are they gonna sell?
Pizza, coffee, and bakeries, just like the old one.
Pizza House.
Oh, the Pizza House had soup and sandwiches.
That was the best.
Big tapioca.
Tapioca balls.
Good, yeah. Okay. That's not really business. Is there any new business coming for us? Any old business? And the usual adjournment motion has been made. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
How come you're leaving? How come you're leaving?
Take the, do you want? I think you have this in Diane's file.
Place coffee is, yeah. They have a sign up in the window. It's right next to the laundromat.